Welcome, friend, to another journey together. As the world outside grows quiet and the edges of your day begin to soften, allow yourself this time to simply be. You have carried the weight of many hours, filled with tasks, conversations, and the quiet hum of your own thoughts. Now there is nothing left to do, nowhere else you need to be. There is only the gentle rise and fall of your breath, and the comfort of this moment. You may have come here tonight with a mind that feels like a busy marketplace, filled with the noise of worries about tomorrow and echoes of yesterday. You may feel a restlessness in your body, a tension that makes it difficult to find true ease. This is a common human experience, a feeling of being adrift on a sea of thoughts, longing for the quiet shore of deep restorative sleep. Tonight, our journey is toward that shore. We will not fight the waves of the mind, nor will we try to force stillness. Instead, we will walk a gentler path, an ancient path, illuminated by the wisdom of Zen Buddhism. These are not rules or commandments, but simple, life-changing teachings that act like a gentle stream, washing over your mind and carrying away the residue of the day. You do not need to believe in anything or strive for anything. All that is asked is that you listen, that you allow these words and the spaces between them to be a cradle for your awareness. We will explore timeless stories and simple truths that have guided souls to peace for centuries. Together, let us uncover the profound rest that is already waiting within you, a peace that does not depend on a quiet world, but on a quiet mind. One of the greatest sources of our restlessness at night is the simple fact that we carry our entire day with us into our beds. We carry the conversations, the unfinished tasks, the small frustrations, and the lingering worries as if they were heavy stones in a bag slung over our shoulder. We believe, without even realizing it, that we must continue to carry them, to analyze them, to solve them, even as our body craves the release of sleep. But true rest cannot begin until we learn the gentle art of setting these burdens down. The mind, in its loyalty, continues to hold on to what it believes is important, but the wisdom of the heart knows when it is time to let go. There is an old Zen story that speaks to this very human habit. Two monks, one senior and one junior, were on a long pilgrimage. Their journey took them along muddy roads, through forests, and across rivers. One afternoon, they came to a river where the bridge had been washed away. A young woman, dressed in fine silks, stood by the riverbank, looking distressed. She was clearly afraid to cross the churning water for fear of ruining her beautiful clothes and being swept away by the current. The junior monk, adhering strictly to the monastic vows that forbade touching a woman, walked past her without a word. The senior monk, however, simply paused. He looked at the woman with compassion, and without a word, he lifted her into his arms. He carried her carefully across the river and set her down gently on the other side. She gave him a quick, grateful nod and hurried on her way. The senior monk then continued his journey. The two monks walked on in silence for hours. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across their path. But while the senior monk walked with a light step, enjoying the cool evening air, the junior monk was growing more and more agitated. His brow was furrowed, and his mind was a storm of judgment and confusion. He replayed the scene at the river again and again. How could his master have broken such a sacred vow? How could he have been so reckless? The transgression weighed on him more heavily with each passing step. Finally, unable to bear the turmoil any longer, he burst out, "Master, I do not understand. We are forbidden to go near women, let alone touch them. How could you have picked up that woman and carried her across the river?" The senior monk looked at his student, his eyes filled not with judgment, but with a gentle kindness. He smiled softly and said, "I set that woman down by the riverbank hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This simple story holds a profound key to our own peace of mind. How often do we carry people, situations, and worries with us long after the moment has passed? An unkind word from a colleague, a mistake we made in the afternoon, a difficult decision that looms in the future. These are the women by the river that our minds refuse to set down. We carry them into the evening, we carry them to our dinner table, and we carry them with us into the quiet of the night, wondering why we cannot find rest. The mind believes that by holding on, by replaying and analyzing, it is somehow protecting us or solving the problem. But in truth, it is only prolonging our suffering and robbing us of the peace that is available in the present moment. The teaching here is not one of indifference. It does not suggest that we should not care about others or be unconcerned with our lives. The senior monk acted with great compassion. He saw a need and he responded to it fully in the moment. But once the moment was over, he was also fully present for the next moment. He did not let the residue of his past action cling to his mind. This is the essence of letting go. It is a wise and compassionate release of what is finished. It is the understanding that this present moment, right now, is the only place where life is truly happening. To be fully here, we must be willing to let go of what was there. Think of your own mind tonight as that junior monk. What are you still carrying from your day? What conversations are you replaying? What worries are you holding on to? You can feel the weight of them, can you not? A tension in your shoulders, a tightness in your jaw, a subtle clenching in your stomach. This is the physical evidence of a mind that has not yet set down its burdens. The beauty of this teaching is that the release does not require a great struggle. It simply requires recognition. The moment the junior monk heard his master's words, he had the opportunity to see his own mental habit and, in that seeing, to let it go. The release is not an action, but a cessation of an action. It is the simple, gentle stopping of carrying. As you settle more deeply into comfort, you can practice this art of letting go. It is not a task to be accomplished, but a gentle allowing, an invitation for your mind to find its natural state of rest. Begin by bringing your awareness to your breath, feeling the gentle rhythm of air entering and leaving your body. Each exhale is a natural opportunity for release. With each breath out, imagine you are gently setting down one of the burdens of your day. You do not need to name them or analyze them. Simply have the intention to release. Imagine a calm, slow-moving river flowing through a quiet forest. See the surface of the water, smooth as glass, reflecting the twilight sky. Now, bring to mind one thing from your day that feels heavy in your mind. It could be a worry, a memory, or an unfinished task. See it clearly for a moment and then imagine placing it gently onto a single, perfect leaf. Watch as this leaf drifts from your hand and lands softly on the surface of the river. It does not sink. It does not struggle. It simply begins to float, carried effortlessly by the gentle current. Watch it as it moves away, slowly and peacefully. It becomes smaller and smaller in the distance, until it disappears from view around a bend in the river. It is gone. You have let it go. You do not need to know where it is going. You only need to know that you are no longer carrying it. Now, bring to mind another thought, another burden. Again, place it on a leaf and let it float away down the river of release. Do this as many times as you need. There is no rush. The river is patient. It can carry anything you give it. With each leaf that floats away, feel the corresponding release in your body. Feel your shoulders softening, dropping away from your ears. Feel the muscles in your face relaxing. Feel your hands unclenching. Your body knows how to let go. It is your mind that you are gently teaching. You are teaching it that it is safe to release its grip, that it is safe to be here, in this moment, without the weight of the past. The past is a memory, the future is a thought. Only this present moment is real, and in this moment, you are safe, you are supported, and you are free to rest. Let the river flow, and let your mind flow with it into the deep, quiet waters of sleep. Even as we learn to set down the burdens of the day, we can find ourselves facing another challenge to our rest. This is the inner chaos, the storm of thoughts that can arise when the world outside grows quiet. It is as if the mind, accustomed to constant activity, does not know how to be still. It races with plans for tomorrow, replays fears, and generates a relentless internal chatter that can feel like a storm inside your own head. Our instinct is often to fight this storm, to try to suppress the thoughts or force the mind into submission. But as anyone who has tried this knows, fighting with your own mind is a battle you can never win. The more you struggle against a thought, the more energy you give it, the stronger it becomes. The true path to peace lies not in defeating the storm, but in finding the unshakable stillness that exists within it. There is a story told in a small coastal village about a wise old boatman who was renowned for his ability to navigate the sea in any weather. A young, ambitious merchant, eager to learn his secrets, hired him for a journey across a wide bay. The morning was clear and calm, and the merchant's mind was filled with thoughts of the profits he would make at his destination. He was impatient, urging the old man to sail faster. The boatman simply smiled and kept a steady, unhurried pace. As they reached the middle of the bay, the sky suddenly darkened. The wind began to howl, and the calm water was whipped into a frenzy of towering waves. The merchant, who had never been in a real storm, was terrified. He gripped the sides of the small boat, his knuckles white, convinced they would be capsized at any moment. The waves crashed over the bow, drenching them in cold spray. The wind shrieked in his ears. It was complete chaos. He looked at the old boatman, expecting to see the same fear reflected in his eyes. But the old man was perfectly calm. His hand was steady on the tiller, his gaze fixed not on the terrifying individual waves, but on the horizon. He was not fighting the storm. He seemed to be dancing with it. He adjusted the sail slightly to work with the wind, not against it. He steered the boat to ride over the crest of a wave, then settled it gently into the trough. The merchant shouted over the wind, "What are you doing? We must fight this storm or we will perish." The old boatman looked at him, his face serene amidst the chaos. He called back, "You cannot fight the sea. You can only understand it. The storm is powerful, but it is not personal. The waves rise and fall, but beneath the surface, the ocean is deep and still. Our boat is our anchor. Pay attention to the boat, not the waves." Following the old man's instruction, the merchant forced his attention away from the terrifying, crashing waves and onto the boat beneath him. He felt the solid wood under his hands. He noticed the steady way it rose and fell, always returning to its balance. He focused on the mast, standing tall against the wind. He began to feel the rhythm of the storm, not as a chaotic assault, but as a powerful, predictable pattern. His fear did not vanish instantly, but its grip on him loosened. He began to breathe more deeply. By anchoring his attention on the steadiness of the boat, he found a place of calm right in the heart of the storm. They sailed on, and eventually, as all storms do, it passed. The sea grew calm again, and they reached their destination safely. The merchant had learned a lesson far more valuable than any profit he could have made. He had learned how to find stillness in the midst of chaos. Your mind is like that sea. It is natural for storms of thought and emotion to arise. Worry, planning, fear, excitement, these are the winds that create the waves on the surface. To try and flatten these waves with force is impossible and exhausting. It is like shouting at the ocean to be still. But the wisdom of this story shows us another way. You do not have to be tossed about by every wave of thought. You have an anchor. You have a boat. This boat is your awareness, the quiet, witnessing presence that is always here beneath the surface turmoil of your mind. Your breath is the anchor that can connect you to this steady presence. The thoughts are the waves. They rise with great energy. They seem terrifying and all-consuming, and then they crash and dissolve, only to be replaced by the next one. They are powerful, but they are temporary. Your awareness, however, is like the deep, still ocean beneath the surface. It is not affected by the storm. It simply holds the storm in its vast, peaceful embrace. This is the great discovery of meditation. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that is aware of your thoughts. This simple shift in identity is the key to profound peace. When a wave of worry about tomorrow rises in your mind, you do not have to become that worry. You can observe it. You can notice, here is a thought about the future. Here is the feeling of anxiety. You watch it as you would watch a wave on the ocean. You acknowledge its power, but you do not mistake it for the entire ocean. You remain anchored in the boat of your awareness, feeling the steady presence of your body, the gentle rhythm of your breath. The wave of worry may crash over you, but it will pass, and you will still be here, steady, present, and safe. This is not a practice of suppressing or ignoring your thoughts. It is a practice of creating space around them. When you are lost in a thought, it feels like the whole world. There is no space. You and the thought are one. But when you step back and simply observe the thought, you create a space of awareness. In that space, there is peace. In that space, there is freedom. You realize that your thoughts are not commands. They are suggestions. They are mental weather patterns. You do not have to believe every one of them. You do not have to follow every one of them into a story of fear or distress. You can let them come, and you can let them go, like clouds passing in the vast, open sky of your mind. Tonight, as you lie here, you can practice being the boatman of your own mind. Notice the weather of your inner world. Perhaps it is calm. Perhaps there is a storm brewing. Whatever the conditions, your task is not to change them, but to find your anchor. Let that anchor be the feeling of your breath. Feel the air moving in through your nose, cool and fresh. Follow it as it fills your lungs. Feel the gentle expansion in your chest and belly. Then follow the exhale all the way out. Feel the warmth of the air as it leaves your body. Feel the gentle release, the letting go that happens with every single out-breath. This breath is always with you. It is always in the present moment. It is the perfect anchor to keep you grounded in the here and now. When you notice your mind has been swept away by a wave of thought, a worry, a memory, a plan, there is no need for judgment. This is what minds do. They wander. The practice is simply this. The moment you realize you have been swept away, gently and kindly guide your attention back to your anchor, back to the feeling of your breath. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your ability to rest in awareness. You are, like the boatman, calmly returning his gaze to the horizon, his hand to the tiller. You are not fighting the waves. You are simply choosing where to place your attention, over and over again, with infinite patience for yourself. You return to the breath. You return to the boat. You return to the stillness in the heart of the storm. In this gentle, persistent returning, you will find a peace that the storms of the mind can never touch. Rest in this unshakable presence, the calm, quiet center of your own being. This is your true home. As we learn to release the past and anchor ourselves in the present, we often encounter another subtle obstacle to deep rest. It is the mind's relentless drive to know, to plan, and to control the future. We lie in bed and our minds become a strategy room, mapping out the next day, solving potential problems, and rehearsing conversations. We feel a deep-seated pressure to have everything figured out, as if our security depended on our ability to predict and manage what is to come. This state of constant mental planning is a state of tension. It holds the body in a state of alert preparedness, the very opposite of the deep surrender required for sleep. Zen wisdom offers a powerful antidote to this habit. It is the wisdom of the empty cup, the profound freedom that comes from embracing the state of not knowing. There is a classic Zen story that beautifully illustrates this principle. A highly educated scholar, a man renowned for his knowledge of philosophy and scriptures, came to visit a famous Zen master. He wanted to learn about the nature of Zen, and he came prepared to debate, to question, and to display his own considerable learning. The master welcomed him graciously and invited him for tea. As they sat together, the scholar began to talk. He spoke at length about his own ideas, his interpretations of sacred texts, and his complex philosophical questions about enlightenment. He was full of theories and concepts. The Zen master listened patiently, nodding quietly as he prepared the tea. When the tea was ready, the master took the scholar's cup and began to pour. He filled the cup to the brim, but he did not stop. He kept pouring, and the hot tea overflowed, spilling onto the saucer and then onto the table. The scholar watched, astonished, and then alarmed. Finally, he could not contain himself. "Stop," he cried. "The cup is already full. No more will go in." The master stopped pouring, looked at the scholar, and smiled. "Like this cup," he said. "You are full of your own opinions and speculations. You have come to ask about Zen, but your mind is already overflowing. How can I show you anything new when you have no space to receive it? First, you must empty your cup." This story speaks directly to the state of mind we so often bring to our rest. We arrive at the end of the day with a cup that is completely full. It is full of the day's successes and failures. It is full of plans for tomorrow. It is full of anxieties about what might go wrong and expectations about how things should be. This full cup is a mind that is closed, rigid, and tense. It has no space. It cannot receive the simple, profound gift of rest because it is too busy holding on to everything it thinks it knows. To empty your cup is to let go of the need to have all the answers. It is to release the illusion that you can control the future through constant mental effort. It is to arrive at this present moment with a sense of openness, curiosity, and trust. This is what Zen calls beginner's mind. A beginner's mind is empty. It is ready for anything. It is open to all possibilities, free from the constraints of past knowledge and future expectations. The wisdom here is not to become irresponsible or to stop planning altogether. Plans are necessary and useful in their proper time and place. But the quiet hours of the night are not that time. The night is a time for surrender. It is a time to acknowledge that after you have done all you can do for the day, the rest is out of your hands. The universe will continue to unfold without the help of your late night worrying. To empty your cup is to trust this unfolding. It is to have faith in the process of life itself and in your own innate ability to meet whatever arises tomorrow when tomorrow actually comes. This trust is a profound act of self-kindness. It is giving yourself permission to stop the endless work of mental management and simply be. When you empty your cup, you create a space, and into that space, peace can flow. Into that space, sleep can arrive, not as something you achieve, but as a grace that you receive. So how do we practice emptying our cup as we lie here, ready for sleep? It begins with noticing what is filling it. Gently bring your awareness to the stream of your thoughts. You might notice plans for a meeting tomorrow, worries about a family member, or a list of things you need to remember to do. Do not judge these thoughts or try to force them out. Simply see them for what they are. This is the content that is filling your cup. Recognize that these are just thoughts, not reality itself. The meeting tomorrow is not happening right now. The problem you are trying to solve does not exist in this present moment. You are here, in the safety and comfort of your bed. Now imagine that you can gently tip your cup. Visualize all of these thoughts, plans, and worries pouring out, not in a violent rush, but in a slow, steady stream. See them dissolving as they leave the cup, like steam rising into the air. Feel the growing lightness in your mind as it empties. Feel the space that is being created. You are not trying to create a blank mind. You are simply letting go of the need to hold on to all of its contents. You are releasing your grip. You might say to yourself, "For tonight, I let go of knowing. For tonight, I let go of planning. For tonight, I am willing to be empty." Another way to practice this is to rest your attention in the physical sensations of your body. Your body is always in the present moment. It is not worried about tomorrow's meeting. It is simply here, breathing. Feel the weight of your body on the mattress. This is a real present moment sensation. Feel the texture of the blankets against your skin. Feel the temperature of the air. These sensations are your connection to the reality of now. By resting your attention here, you're naturally emptying your mind of the abstract worlds of past and future. You are allowing your cup to be filled with the simple, peaceful reality of your present experience. When a new thought arises to fill the cup again, as it surely will, the practice is the same. Notice it without judgment. Acknowledge it, perhaps with a mental nod. Planning has returned. Then, gently, tip the cup again. Let the thought pour out and dissolve, and return your attention to the spacious emptiness, or to the simple sensations of your breath and body. This is a practice of gentle repetition, of patient release. Each time you let a thought go, you are affirming your trust in the present moment. You are choosing peace over control. You are choosing surrender over struggle. You are choosing to honor your deep need for rest. In the spaciousness of this empty mind, you will find a quietness that is profoundly healing. It is the fertile emptiness from which all true creativity, wisdom, and deep restorative sleep can arise. Rest now in this beautiful open space of not knowing. There is nothing you need to figure out. There is only the peace of being. It is a quiet act of courage to admit that you do not have to have everything under control. It is an act of profound wisdom to trust that the answers you need for tomorrow will arise tomorrow, not in the anxious stillness of tonight. Your mind is not a problem to be solved. It is a space to be held. And as you continue to gently empty your cup, you may discover something wonderful. The emptiness is not a void. It is not a lack. It is a presence. It is the presence of peace, the presence of pure potential. It is the quiet, fertile ground from which deep, effortless rest can finally grow. Trust this space. Trust this quiet. You have done enough for today. Allow yourself now to simply be received by the night. Pause for a moment. Soften the edges of your day. Let your body rest more deeply into this moment of stillness. Allow these teachings to settle, not as ideas to be remembered, but as seeds of peace planted in the quiet garden of your mind. Let them be. In the deep quiet of the night, it is easy to feel alone with our worries. The darkness can seem to amplify our sense of being a small, isolated self, facing the vastness of the world and its challenges all on our own. This feeling of separation is a deep source of anxiety, a silent hum of fear beneath our other thoughts. We feel we must be vigilant. We must protect this fragile self because we are all we have. But Buddhist wisdom offers a radical and deeply comforting alternative to this perspective. It gently reveals that our feeling of being separate is a profound illusion. In truth, you are not and have never been alone. Your life is woven into the fabric of existence in ways so intimate and vast that you are held and supported at every moment. Imagine a single, vibrant green leaf on a vast, ancient Bodhi tree. As summer ripens and the first hints of autumn touch the air, the leaf begins to feel a tremor of fear. It sees other leaves around it turning yellow and brown, letting go of their branches and drifting to the ground. It looks at its own small stem and feels its connection to the branch as a fragile, temporary thing. I will fall soon, it thinks, and then I will be gone forever. I will rot and become nothing. This thought fills the small leaf with a great sadness and a lonely terror. The wind rustles through the tree, and it feels like a threat, a force that wants to tear it from its only home. An older branch nearby, having felt this fear in countless leaves over many seasons, senses the little leaf's distress. In the silent language of the tree, it communicates a different story. Do not be afraid, little one, the branch whispers. You are looking at things in a very limited way. You think you are just a leaf, born in the spring and destined to die in the fall. But you are so much more than that. You have never been just a leaf. You are the sunlight you have been drinking in all summer, turning it into life. You are the rain that you have drawn up from the deep earth, its coolness flowing through your veins. You are the rich soil itself, filled with the lives of all the leaves that came before you. You are the sturdy trunk and the deep roots that anchor us all. You are the whole tree. The branch continued, its wisdom flowing like sap. Your green color is the chlorophyll singing a song of the sun. Your shape is the perfect design for catching the light. When you let go, it is not an ending. It is a transformation. You will return to the earth, and you will feed the very roots that gave you life. Your substance will become part of the tree again, and you will be reborn in 1,000 new leaves next spring. You are not dying. You are simply going home. You have never been separate from the whole. The little leaf listened, and as it truly heard these words, its fear dissolved. It felt the sun, the rain, the earth, and the entire tree within its own small form. It realized its connection was not just to the branch, but to everything. When the time came, it let go with a sense of peace, dancing on the autumn wind, not in terror, but in a final, graceful expression of its unity with all of life. This story is our story. We are that little leaf, so often convinced of our own separateness, so often terrified of the inevitable changes of life. We identify with our small, temporary form, our individual body and personality, and we forget that we are the whole tree. The teaching of interconnection, or what is sometimes called dependent origination, is the heart of this wisdom. It reveals that nothing exists on its own. Everything arises in relationship to everything else. You are not a solitary being who just happened to appear on Earth. Your existence is dependent on a web of conditions so vast and complex it is truly miraculous. Consider the very breath you are breathing right now. This air connects you to the entire atmosphere of the planet. It has been in the lungs of countless other beings. It has been stirred by the winds that cross oceans and has been produced by the trees and the phytoplankton that are the green lungs of our world. With every breath, you are in intimate communion with the entire biosphere. Consider the food that has nourished you. It is a gift from the sun, the rain, and the soil, brought to you through the work of countless people, from the farmer who planted the seed to the driver who transported it to the person who prepared it. Your physical body is literally made of the substance of the earth. You are not separate from nature. You are a perfect expression of it. This understanding is not just a beautiful philosophical idea. It is a powerful medicine for the loneliness and anxiety that can haunt us in the night. When you feel you are facing your challenges alone, remember the web of interconnection. You are supported by the ground beneath you, a planet that holds you in its gentle gravitational embrace. You are nourished by the air you breathe. You are connected to every person who has ever shown you kindness, whose love and care live on inside your memory and have shaped who you are. You are even connected to those you find difficult, part of the same human family, each person struggling in their own way to find happiness. When you truly feel this connection in your heart, the burden of your personal struggles becomes lighter. You realize you are not a single, isolated wave, but a part of the entire ocean. The ocean can hold any wave, no matter how turbulent. As you rest here, allow yourself to feel this profound connection. This is not something you need to invent. You only need to recognize what is already true. Begin by feeling the points of contact between your body and the surface that supports you. Feel the unwavering solidity of the bed, the floor, the foundation of the building, and the great solid earth beneath it all. Let go into this support. The earth is holding you. It has been holding you every moment of your life. You do not have to hold yourself up. You can surrender your weight completely. Feel this deep sense of being held, safe and secure. Now, bring your attention back to your breath. With each inhale, know that you are breathing in the life of the world. You are taking in the gift of the trees and the oceans. With each exhale, you are giving back. You are participating in the great planetary rhythm of exchange. Feel this connection to all of life, a silent, intimate dance that continues moment by moment, breath by breath. You are a vital part of this living world. You belong here, now. Allow your awareness to expand even further. Bring to mind, without any strain, the countless other beings who, at this very moment, are also seeking rest. In your town, in your country, all around the world, people are lying down, letting go of their day, hoping for peace and sleep. Some are happy, some are sad. Some are in comfort, some are in pain. But all share the same fundamental wish for peace. Feel your connection to this vast community of fellow human beings. Your own longing for rest is not a personal, isolated struggle. It is a shared human experience. In this shared wish, you are deeply connected. You are not alone in your struggle. You are not alone in your desire for peace. Let this sense of shared humanity be a comfort to you. Let it dissolve the walls of isolation and wrap you in a sense of gentle kinship with all beings. You are a part of a great web of existence, held, supported, and connected in more ways than your mind can possibly comprehend. Rest in this knowing. Rest in this vast, loving embrace. You are home. As we peel back the layers of our experience from the burdens of the day to the feeling of separation, we come to an even deeper level of our identity. We encounter the complex self we have built over a lifetime. This is the self made of our roles, our history, our successes, and our failures. It is the self that says, I am a parent, I am a professional, I am an anxious person, I am not good enough. This constructed self is a heavy thing to carry. It requires constant effort, management, and defense. We work so hard to maintain it, to improve it, to protect its image. It is this effort that creates so much of our underlying tension and prevents us from experiencing the simple, effortless peace that is our true nature. Zen wisdom points us toward this deeper peace by inviting us to return to our original simplicity, to the state of what is sometimes called the uncarved block. Imagine a master carver who has been commissioned by an emperor to create a work of art that will capture the essence of life itself. The emperor provides him with the rarest, most precious block of sandalwood. The court gathers, expecting the carver to begin his work immediately, to display his elaborate plans and his sophisticated techniques. Instead, the carver does something strange. For days, he simply sits with the block of wood. He walks around it, he touches its surface, he smells its fragrance. He does not draw a single line or make a single cut. The emperor's advisors grow impatient. "What is this laziness?" they whisper. "Is he a fraud?" The carver ignores them. He is not being lazy. He is listening. He is trying to sense the spirit of the wood itself, to understand its grain, its strengths, its inner nature. He knows that he cannot force his own idea onto the wood without doing violence to it. A true masterpiece is not an imposition of the artist's will, but a collaboration, a revealing of the beauty that is already latently present within the material. After many weeks of this deep listening, he finally picks up his tools. But his work is not one of addition, it is one of subtraction. With each careful cut, he carves away what is not the sculpture. He removes the excess, the parts that obscure the form that is waiting within. He is not creating something from nothing. He is liberating the essence that was there all along. The final sculpture is breathtaking in its simple, natural beauty. It is magnificent not because of its complexity, but because it is a perfect expression of the wood's own soul. We are, in our original nature, like that block of sandalwood, already whole, complete, and possessed of our own innate beauty. But from a very young age, we begin a process of carving ourselves, or being carved by others, into a specific identity. Our parents, our teachers, and our culture hand us the tools. They teach us to add layers. You are a good boy. You are a shy girl. You are smart. You are not athletic. We internalize these labels and start to build an identity around them. As we grow older, we add more sophisticated layers. We identify with our job title, our income, our relationships, our political beliefs, our personal history of triumphs and traumas. We become this complex, carefully constructed sculpture, and we forget the simple, natural wood we started as. This constructed self is not necessarily a bad thing. It helps us navigate the social world, but it becomes a source of suffering when we mistake it for who we truly are. We become attached to our labels. We feel proud of the positive ones and ashamed of the negative ones. We live in constant fear that our sculpture will be judged, that it will crack, that it is not as good as someone else's sculpture. This is an exhausting way to live, and it is a state of deep tension that we carry with us even into the night. We lie in bed, and our mind is busy polishing our successes, worrying about our failures, and planning how to improve our sculpture tomorrow. But deep rest does not come to the sculpture. It comes to the wood. Peace is found not in adding another layer, but in remembering the simple, uncarved nature that lies beneath all the constructions. This original simplicity is your fundamental nature. It is the pure awareness that exists before you attach any label to it. It is the quiet presence that is here when you are not trying to be anyone in particular. This part of you is already perfect. It needs no improvement. It has no history of failure. It has no anxiety about the future. It is simply, peacefully present. Returning to this state is like the master carver's process. It is not about becoming something new. It is about gently letting go of everything you are not. It is about setting aside the layers of identity that you have accumulated just for this period of rest, and allowing your original, simple nature to be. As you lie here, you can begin this gentle practice of unlayering. It is an act of release, a temporary setting aside of the roles and identities you carry so diligently throughout the day. There is no need to reject them or get rid of them forever. You are simply placing them outside your bedroom door for the night. They will be there for you in the morning if you choose to pick them up again. Start with your most obvious public roles. You might say silently to yourself, "For tonight, I am not your job title." Visualize this label, this role with all its responsibilities and pressures, as a heavy cloak, and imagine yourself shrugging it off your shoulders. Feel the lightness as it falls away. Then continue. For tonight, I am not your family role, such as parent, child, or sibling. Again, see this role, with all its joys and its worries, as another layer of clothing, and allow yourself to gently set it aside. Feel yourself becoming simpler, lighter. Now, go a little deeper. Set aside the labels of your personality. For tonight, I am not anxious or confident. I am not outgoing or shy. These are just descriptions of the sculpture, not the wood itself. Let them go. Set aside the heavy weight of your personal history. For tonight, I am not my past successes or my past failures. Let the stories you tell about yourself dissolve. They are not who you are in this present moment. Let go of the need to be a spiritual person or a good person. These are the most subtle and sticky layers of all. Just for tonight, let yourself be without any qualification. What remains when all these layers are set aside? What is left when you are not your job, not your role, not your personality, not your history? What is left is a simple, quiet presence, a feeling of just being. It might feel unfamiliar at first, this radical simplicity, but stay with it. This is the uncarved block. This is your original nature. It is spacious, peaceful, and free. It has no problems to solve. It has no one to impress. It simply is. This is the state in which the deepest healing and restoration can occur. Your body and mind know how to rest from this place of simplicity. Let go of the effort of being someone and just allow yourself to be. Rest in this simple, unadorned presence. This is your essence. This is your peace. Even as you touch this state of simple being, you might notice the mind's tendency to grasp. It grasps for pleasant feelings, wanting them to stay, and it pushes away difficult situations, fearing they will last forever. This habit of clinging and resisting is a fundamental source of anxiety. It is like trying to build a permanent house on the bank of a flowing river. You are in a constant state of struggle against the natural current of life. The antidote to this struggle is one of the most profound and liberating of all Buddhist teachings, the wisdom of impermanence. Understanding that everything is in a state of constant flow allows you to relax your grip and move with life rather than against it. There is a story of a young man who, through great effort, built a beautiful house on the bank of a wide, powerful river. He used the finest wood and the strongest stone, and his house was his greatest pride. He loved to sit on his porch and watch the river flow by, but his enjoyment was always tainted with fear. He saw the river as a threat. In the dry season, he worried it would shrink and leave his house stranded in a dusty plain. During the spring rains, he was filled with terror that the river would flood and wash his precious home away. His entire life became consumed with controlling the river. He built high levees of stone and sandbags. He dredged the riverbed. He was constantly vigilant, always working, never truly at peace in the beautiful house he had built. Further down the river lived an old woman. She did not have a house of stone. She lived on a simple raft, anchored loosely to the bank. Her raft was not strong or permanent, but it was perfectly suited to the river. When the water was low, her raft rested gently on the muddy bottom. When the river rose, her raft simply rose with it. She never fought the river. She understood its nature. She knew that its essence was change. Its power was in its constant movement. She spent her days fishing, mending her nets, and watching the changing light on the water's surface. She was deeply at peace, not because she had conquered the river, but because she had learned to live in harmony with its flow. The young man, in his stone house, was a prisoner of his fear. The old woman, on her simple raft, was free. This simple story of the river holds so much of what we have been exploring together. Our entire journey tonight, guided by the best Buddhist teachings for deep rest, has been about learning to live like the old woman on the raft. It is about learning to flow with the great river of life, rather than building stone walls against it. The art of letting go is how we unmoor ourselves from the past. Finding stillness in the storm is how we navigate the turbulent currents of the mind. Emptying our cup is how we create space to receive the river's gifts. And understanding our interconnection is the realization that we are not a single drop, but the entire body of water. All these teachings point to the same profound truth. Peace is found not in resistance, but in wise and graceful surrender to the way things are. The great illusion we live under is that our happiness depends on things staying the same. We find a moment of joy, a period of health, a loving relationship, and our immediate instinct is to build a wall around it, to protect it from the flow of time. Conversely, when we face a difficult situation, a painful emotion, or a period of illness, our mind tells us this is a permanent state, a solid reality that will never change. This resistance to change, this clinging to the pleasant and aversion to the unpleasant, is the very source of our tension and anxiety. It is the effort of the young man constantly fighting the river. The wisdom of impermanence is the raft. It is the understanding that allows us to relax, to let go, and to find an unshakable peace in the midst of life's constant flow. Impermanence is not a sad or nihilistic teaching. It is the most hopeful truth there is. It means that no state of suffering is permanent. The anxiety you feel now will pass. The sadness that visits your heart will change. The physical pain you experience will shift and transform. Like weather patterns, these experiences move through the vast sky of your awareness, but they do not last forever. Knowing this does not magically erase the difficulty, but it removes the second layer of suffering, the fear that it will never end. It allows you to endure what is difficult with a deeper patience and a quieter mind, knowing that, like all things, this too shall pass. This wisdom also transforms our relationship to joy. When you truly understand that beautiful moments are fleeting, you do not cling to them with anxiety. Instead, you cherish them more fully. You can be completely present for a moment of happiness, a beautiful sunset, or a loving connection without the mind poisoning the experience with the fear of its ending. You appreciate it for what it is, a precious, temporary gift. Impermanence teaches us that life is like music. The beauty of a melody is in its flowing progression of notes. If you tried to hold on to a single beautiful note forever, the music would cease. It is the letting go of each note that allows the next to be born and the melody to unfold. Your life is this melody, a beautiful and ever-changing flow of experience. Tonight, you can practice resting on your own raft, floating on the river of your present moment experience. There is no need to control the flow. Your only task is to notice it. Bring your attention to the sensations in your body. You may notice an area of warmth, an area of coolness, a feeling of tingling or pressure. Whatever you notice, just observe it. Know that this sensation is not a solid, permanent thing. It is a flickering, vibrating field of energy that is changing moment by moment. It arises, it stays for a while, and it will eventually dissolve. There is no need to hold on to it or push it away. Just let it be, like a ripple on the water. Now, notice the sounds around you. A distant hum, the gentle sound of your own breathing. Each sound appears in your awareness from silence, lingers for a moment, and then disappears back into silence. Your hearing is a river of sound, constantly flowing, constantly changing. You do not need to label the sounds or judge them as pleasant or unpleasant. Simply receive them. Let them wash through your awareness without leaving a trace, like sticks floating by on the river. And what of your thoughts? They are the most powerful current in the river. Watch them now. A thought about the past may arise. A memory. See it as a shape on the water's surface. Observe it without getting swept away by its story. It is just a thought. It will float by. Then a thought about the future may appear. A plan, a worry. See it too, as just another object floating on the river. You are not the thought. You are the peaceful observer, sitting on the bank, watching the river of your mind flow by. You do not need to stop the river. You do not need to clean the river. You simply need to stop jumping into it. With each thought that you notice and let go of, you are practicing the wisdom of impermanence. You are loosening your grip. You are learning to trust the flow. In this trust, you will find a profound relaxation, a deep letting go that allows your entire being to rest, floating safely on the ever-changing, ever-present river of life. This practice of watching the river of experience leads us directly to the source of all peace, the very heart of Zen practice. It is the discovery that our true home is not in the past or in the future, but only and always in this present moment. The mind is a natural time traveler. It loves to journey back into the past, replaying memories, nursing old grievances, and basking in the glow of former glories. It also loves to rocket into the future, rehearsing for challenges that may never happen and worrying about 1,000 possible outcomes. This constant mental travel is exhausting. It drains our energy and robs us of the only life we ever truly have, which is the life that is unfolding right now. True rest is impossible when the mind is living somewhere else. There is a tale of a man who spent his entire life in search of a mythical valley of eternal peace. As a young boy, he had heard a story from a wandering mystic about a hidden sanctuary where the sun always shone, the rivers ran with sweet water, and no one ever knew sorrow. The idea of this place took root in his soul, and he dedicated his life to finding it. He left his village and began to walk. He journeyed for years, which turned into decades. He crossed scorching deserts, his mind fixed only on the cool waters of the valley. He climbed treacherous, snow-capped mountains, his thoughts focused only on the warm sun of his destination. He never truly saw the stark beauty of the dunes or the majestic grandeur of the peaks. He met kind strangers who offered him food and shelter, but he was always impatient to move on, his mind already far down the road. His journey was not a journey, but a relentless pursuit of a future that never arrived. He grew old and frail, his body worn out from his endless travels. One evening, he found himself at the top of a high mountain pass. His strength failed him, and he collapsed in the snow, his quest unfulfilled. As he lay there, knowing his life was ending, he did something he had never done before. He stopped looking forward. He simply rested, and he looked back. For the first time, he truly saw the path he had traveled. He saw the incredible, shifting colors of the desert sunset he had rushed through. He saw the shimmering constellations in the night sky he had slept under without a glance. He remembered the faces of the kind people he had met, and he felt a pang of regret for not having truly been with them. He realized that in every step of his exhausting journey, a piece of the peaceful valley had been present, but he had been too focused on his destination to see it. The beauty, the kindness, the simple wonder of being alive, it had all been there. In that final moment of recognition, lying on the cold mountain, his heart filled with a profound peace. He had finally stopped searching. He had finally arrived. We are all, in some way, that wanderer. We are searching for a future moment when everything will be perfect, when our problems will be solved, when we can finally relax and be happy. We tell ourselves, I will be able to rest when I finish this project. Or, I will find peace when I solve this relationship issue. Or, my life will be good when I achieve this goal. We are constantly living in a state of postponement, chasing a future that, even when it arrives, is quickly replaced by a new destination, a new set of conditions for our happiness. The profound and simple truth of Zen is that the peaceful valley is not a destination. It is here. It is now. This very moment, as it is the only home you will ever have. Peace is not found by changing your circumstances, but by changing your relationship to the present moment. It is found by coming home to the now. This may sound too simple. How can this moment, with all its imperfections, be the source of peace? The peace does not come from the conditions of the moment, but from the act of being fully present with them. When you are fully present, your mind is not spinning stories about the past or creating anxious fantasies about the future. It is simply here. And in the simplicity of being here, there is a natural quietness. The mental engine of striving and resisting has been turned off. You are no longer the wanderer, but the one who has arrived. The practice is one of radical arrival. As you lie here, feel that this is your destination. You are not waiting for sleep to come. You are not trying to get to a more peaceful state. You have already arrived. Here, now, let go of the journey. Let go of the striving. You are home. To help yourself feel this, connect with your senses, which are the gateways to the present moment. Listen. What sounds are actually present in the room right now? Not the story about the sounds, just the raw sensation of hearing. Each sound is a part of this moment. By receiving it without judgment, you arrive more fully here. Feel. What are the physical sensations of your body right now? Feel the weight of your head on the pillow. Feel the air on your skin. Feel the gentle, pulsing aliveness within your hands. Do not try to change any of these sensations. Do not label them good or bad. Simply feel them. This is the landscape of your present moment. By inhabiting it with your awareness, you have arrived. And breathe. Your breath is the ultimate anchor to the now. It is never in the past. It is never in the future. It is always, only, now. Feel one full breath. Just one. Feel the inhale completely and the exhale completely. In the space of that one breath, you are fully present. You have come home. You might silently say to yourself with each breath, inhaling, I have arrived. Exhaling, I am home. Let these words guide you out of the imagined worlds of yesterday and tomorrow and into the simple, peaceful reality of your own presence. There is nowhere else to go. There is nothing else to achieve. You have found the valley. It is here. It is you. Rest in this profound homecoming. Gently pause. Feel the stillness that has grown. Let your body absorb this peace. You are doing nothing, and in this gentle allowing, everything is being done. Simply rest. As we settle into this deep sense of presence, it is helpful to understand how our inner world is created. We often feel that our moods and mental states are random, like the weather, happening to us without our control. But one of the most empowering teachings of Buddhism is the principle of karma. This idea has often been misunderstood in the West as a cosmic system of reward and punishment. But its original meaning is much simpler and more practical. Karma simply means action or cause and effect. It teaches that our intentional thoughts, words, and actions are like seeds, and the seeds we plant will inevitably determine the kind of garden our mind becomes. A peaceful mind is not an accident. It is a garden that has been mindfully and patiently cultivated. Imagine two gardeners who are each given an identical plot of land. The first gardener is heedless. He pays little attention to what is happening in his garden. When the wind blows thistle seeds and dandelion seeds onto his plot, he doesn't notice or doesn't care. He allows thoughts of resentment and bitterness to take root when he feels wronged. He lets the thorny weeds of anger grow unchecked when he is frustrated. He never waters the few delicate flowers of kindness that try to sprout. Over time, his garden becomes a tangled, overgrown, and painful place to be. It is difficult to walk through, and it bears no fruit. This is not because he is being punished. It is simply the natural result of his neglect and the seeds he has allowed to grow. The second gardener is mindful. She understands that a beautiful garden requires conscious cultivation. She is watchful. When she sees the first shoots of a thorny weed, a thought of unkindness or jealousy, she gently removes it before it can take root. She knows these weeds will always try to sprout, but she does not despair. She simply tends to her garden with patient consistency. More importantly, she actively chooses what to plant. She deliberately sows seeds of loving kindness, planting a thought of goodwill towards a neighbor. She sows seeds of gratitude, taking a moment to appreciate the warmth of the sun. She plants seeds of forgiveness, letting go of a past hurt rather than letting it turn into a patch of bitter herbs. She waters these seeds with her attention. Over time, her garden becomes a sanctuary. It is filled with fragrant flowers of joy, shady trees of peace, and nourishing fruits of wisdom. This, too, is not a reward. It is the simple, natural consequence of her mindful actions. Our mind is this garden. Every moment presents us with a choice about what seeds we will plant. When you find yourself replaying an angry conversation, you are watering the seed of resentment. When you lie in bed worrying about the future, you are watering the seeds of anxiety. When you judge yourself harshly for a mistake, you are watering the seeds of inadequacy. Conversely, when you consciously bring to mind something you are grateful for, you are planting a seed of joy. When you offer a silent wish of well-being to someone, even someone you find difficult, you are planting a seed of compassion. When you choose to let go of a worry and return your attention to your breath, you are planting a seed of peace. This understanding of karma as mindful choice is profoundly empowering, especially as we seek deep rest. It means that you are not a helpless victim of your own mind. You are the gardener. This does not mean you must wage a violent war against negative thoughts. A mindful gardener does not hate the weeds. They simply understand that they do not serve the garden's flourishing. The practice is not one of aggression, but of gentle, persistent redirection. When you notice a weed of worry sprouting, you do not need to curse it. You simply recognize it. Ah, there is worry, and then gently withdraw your attention from it and place it somewhere more nourishing, like the feeling of your breath or a thought of gratitude. You let the weed wither from a lack of the water of your attention. This is a practice of immense patience and self-compassion. For many years, you may have been unconsciously watering the weeds. Their roots may be deep. Do not expect the garden to transform overnight. The key is the gentle, consistent intention. Every time you choose to let go of a harsh judgment and instead offer yourself a moment of kindness, you are tending your garden. Every time you choose to release a fearful story about the future and rest in the present moment, you are tending your garden. You are actively creating the causes and conditions for a more peaceful mind tomorrow. The peace you will feel in the future is being planted right now, in the quiet, conscious choices you make in this very moment. As you settle into the final moments before sleep, you can practice this gentle cultivation. First, bring to mind one weed from your day. Perhaps a moment of frustration, a lingering worry, or a feeling of resentment. See it clearly in your mind, but without judgment. See it as a gardener sees a thistle, simply as a plant that is out of place. Acknowledge its presence, and now make a conscious, gentle choice not to water it any longer tonight. You can silently say to it, "I see you, but for tonight, I will not give you my energy." Imagine this weed, this thought pattern, beginning to wither, deprived of the focus of your awareness. Feel the little bit of space that opens up as you release it. Now, let us plant a seed of peace. Scan through your day and find one small, simple moment of goodness. It does not need to be monumental. Perhaps it was the warmth of the sun on your face, the taste of your morning coffee or tea, a moment of connection with a pet, a beautiful song you heard, or a kind word from a stranger. Find one small, genuine pearl of goodness. Bring that memory fully into your awareness. See it, feel it, taste it. Let the feeling of that moment, no matter how subtle, fill your heart space. This is a seed of gratitude, of joy. Now, water it with your attention. Rest in that gentle, warm feeling. Let it be the last impression your mind holds as you drift away. You are the gardener, and you have chosen to cultivate peace. Trust that the seeds you plant tonight will blossom into the tranquility you seek. Rest now in the quiet sanctuary of your own mindfully tended garden. As we journey even deeper together, we arrive at the very heart of Zen wisdom, a teaching so profound it can dissolve the root of all our anxieties. We have been working to let go of our burdens, our worries, and our roles. But what if we could let go of the very me who carries them? The self that we take to be so solid and real, the central character in our life story, is, from this deeper perspective, more like a flowing river than a fixed statue. Understanding this can bring a freedom and a depth of rest that is beyond imagination. There is a story of a legendary actor, a man so gifted that when he stepped onto the stage, the audience completely forgot they were watching a performance. When he played a king, he was majestic, powerful, and utterly believable. When he played a beggar, he was heartbreakingly destitute. After one particularly moving performance, a group of students approached him. "Master," one asked, "what is your secret? How do you become these characters so completely?" The actor smiled, a knowing smile. "My secret is simple," he said. "When I am on the stage, there is no actor. If the role is the king, there is only the king. I allow all my thoughts, my feelings, and my movements to belong to him completely. I do not stand behind the role, judging my performance. I dissolve into it." The students were impressed. "So you truly believe you are the king?" another asked. "Ah," the actor replied, "that is only half of the secret. The other, more important half is that when the curtain falls, I know with absolute certainty that I am not the king. I take off the crown and the heavy robes, and I am free of him. My true freedom is not in playing the king well, but in knowing that it is only a role." He looked at the students with a deep, compassionate gaze. "The tragedy for most people," he said softly, "is that they are actors who have completely forgotten they are acting. They put on the costume of the warrior, the important executive, the sad person, or the one who was wronged, and they never take it off. They wear their roles to bed at night and wonder why they cannot rest." This is one of the most liberating discoveries you can make. The self you think of as me is a role you are playing. It is a brilliant, complex, and convincing performance, but it is a performance nonetheless. What you call yourself is a collection of constantly changing components. There is your body, which is different today than it was yesterday. There are your thoughts, which appear and disappear like clouds. There are your emotions, which flow through you like weather. There are your memories, which are constantly being edited and reinterpreted. There is your name, your history, your collection of roles. But if you look closely, can you find a single, solid, unchanging thing in the middle of it all that is the permanent you. The search always comes up empty. This is not a frightening idea. It is the key to ultimate freedom. If you are not a fixed, solid thing, then you are not permanently defined by anything. You are not your past mistakes. You are not your current anxieties. You are not your perceived limitations. These are just costumes you have been wearing, roles you have been playing. And if they are roles, you can, at any moment, choose to set them down. This is particularly true when it is time for rest. The ego, this constructed self, is a creature of effort. It spends its entire day defending its territory, promoting its image, and worrying about its future. This is exhausting work. Deep, profound rest only becomes possible when this hard-working actor is allowed to finally exit the stage for the night. When you let go of the need to be me, what is left? What is left is simply awareness, a quiet, open, spacious presence that has been here all along, witnessing the entire play. This awareness is not a role. It is the silent space in which all the roles appear. It is not defined by any character. It is naturally peaceful, naturally free. To rest in this awareness is to take off all the costumes. It is the freedom of being, for a little while, wonderfully and peacefully, no one at all. As you prepare to fall asleep, you can practice this final and most profound letting go. You are not trying to destroy your ego or annihilate yourself. You are simply giving your hard-working self a well-deserved vacation. Let this be an invitation to dissolve. Begin by bringing your awareness to the idea of your name. It is a label that has followed you your whole life. Just for tonight, let it go. Imagine it written in sand on a beach, and watch as a gentle wave comes and washes it away. For these next hours, you do not need a name. Now, bring to mind your personal history, the long story of your life with all its chapters of joy and sorrow. It is a powerful story, but it is a story of the past. Just for tonight, close the book. Place it on a bedside table in your mind. You are not your story. You can be free of it while you rest. Consider the roles you play: the parent, the child, the professional, the friend. See them as the actor's costumes hanging in a closet. Just for tonight, you do not need to wear any of them. You are simply here as awareness. Finally, let go of the need to be a body. Feel the boundaries of your physical form begin to soften. Feel the space between the atoms. Imagine yourself as a drop of water that has been held in a particular shape all day, and now you are relaxing back into the vast, peaceful ocean of being. There is no separation. There is no individual drop to protect. There is only the gentle, boundless movement of the whole. Do not struggle with this. It is a gentle allowing, a soft surrender. You are letting go of the effort of being a separate self. In this dissolution, find the peace that surpasses all understanding. When there is no one left to worry, no one left to plan, no one left to protect, what remains? Only peace, only stillness, only the deep, silent rest of the universe itself. As our long journey through these life-changing Buddhist teachings draws to its gentle close, we return to where we began, to the simple, profound truth that the peace you seek is already within you. You have walked the path of the Four Noble Truths, seeing clearly the nature of our restlessness and the way to its end. We have explored the intricate web of existence, realizing you are never truly alone. We have discovered the freedom that comes from knowing your true self is as fluid and changing as a river. You have learned to be the gardener of your own mind, planting seeds of peace, and you have tasted the ultimate freedom of letting go of your role, even for a moment, to rest as pure awareness. Remember, dear friend, that this is not an ending. This wisdom is not meant to remain as mere words heard in the quiet of the night. It is a living truth, waiting to be embodied in your waking life. Each breath is an opportunity to come home to the present moment. Each challenge is a chance to practice letting go. Each interaction with another person is a chance to feel your interconnection. The journey to deep rest is the journey home to your own true nature. This profound dissolution of the self is not an escape from life, but a deep immersion into its very essence. When the separate, striving self relaxes its grip, what remains is not a void, but a vast and intelligent awareness, perfectly capable of navigating the world with wisdom and grace. This awareness is like a flawless mirror. It does not judge or cling to what it sees. It simply reflects perfectly and without effort. The suffering we experience is not caused by the reflections in the mirror, but by the stains of preference, judgment, and fear that we allow to accumulate upon its surface. The path to lasting peace lies in gently, patiently cleaning this mirror of the mind. There is an ancient legend of a kingdom whose greatest treasure was a mirror, passed down through generations of rulers. It was said that this mirror had a special power. It showed not what one wanted to see, but the simple, unadorned truth of whatever was before it. A new young king, who was wise but also proud, inherited this mirror. At first, he marveled at its clarity. It reflected the vibrant colors of his robes and the intricate details of his throne room with perfect fidelity. It showed him the loyal faces of his court and the beauty of his gardens. But one day, as he gazed into it, he noticed a new wrinkle forming beside his eye. The mirror showed it clearly. The king felt a pang of displeasure. The next day, he saw a crack appearing in the marble floor of his palace. The mirror reflected this imperfection without comment. A week later, he saw a reflection of his own face, clouded with sadness after a difficult day. The king grew to resent the mirror's honesty. He no longer wanted to see the truth. He wanted to see a reflection that matched his idea of how things should be. He ordered a court artist to paint a youthful, happier expression over his reflection. He commanded a stonemason to cover the reflection of the cracked floor with a beautiful mosaic. He tried to force the mirror to reflect only what pleased him, but in doing so, he destroyed its power. The mirror became a mess of paint, stone, and glue. It no longer showed the truth. It showed only a distorted, chaotic image of the king's own fears and desires. It became useless. It was only when the king, humbled and saddened by his loss, spent months painstakingly and gently cleaning away every stain he had applied, that the mirror's original, brilliant clarity was restored. He learned then that the mirror's power was not in showing him what he wanted, but in its capacity to reflect everything, the beautiful and the flawed, the joyful and the sad, with perfect, unwavering equanimity. Your own awareness is this mirror. In its natural state, it is pristine, clear, and spacious. It effortlessly reflects every sight, every sound, every thought, every feeling that passes before it. The problem is never the reflection. The problem is that, like the young king, we try to alter the mirror. When a pleasant feeling arises, a reflection of joy or comfort, we try to grab it. We want to hold on to it, to make it permanent. This act of grasping is like smearing honey on the mirror. It's sticky and it distorts every reflection that comes after it. When an unpleasant feeling arises, a reflection of sadness, anger, or fear, we try to push it away. We deny it, suppress it, or cover it with distractions. This act of aversion is like throwing mud at the mirror. It obscures our vision and leaves us feeling agitated and unclean. Our judgments, opinions, and beliefs are the stains we have been applying for a lifetime. We don't just experience a neutral sensation in our body, we experience it through the stain of, "I don't like this pain." We don't just hear another person's words, we hear them through the stain of, "They are criticizing me." The practice of mindfulness, in its essence, is the gentle and continuous cleaning of this mirror. It is the practice of learning to witness the reflections of your experience without immediately smearing them with your preferences. It is the cultivation of a clear and steady mind that can see things as they truly are. As you rest here, you can practice with this mirror-like awareness. Imagine that your mind is a vast, open, perfectly clean mirror. It has no agenda. It has no preference. It is simply, silently, reflectively aware. Now notice what reflections appear. You may notice the sensation of the blanket on your skin. The mirror of your mind simply reflects this sensation. It doesn't need to say, "I like this," or "It's too heavy." It just reflects. A sound may arise from somewhere in the room or outside. The mirror reflects the sound perfectly, just as it is, without adding a story to it. A thought may float through your mind, a memory from the day or a plan for tomorrow. See this thought as just another reflection. It is not you. It is not a command. It is simply a cloud of energy appearing in the mirror of awareness. Let it be reflected and let it pass. A feeling may arise, perhaps a subtle flicker of anxiety or a wave of peacefulness. This too is a reflection. The mirror of your mind is vast enough to reflect the most turbulent storm or the calmest blue sky without being changed by either. The mirror is not the storm. The mirror is not the blue sky. It is the unwavering clarity that allows them both to be seen. If a judgment arises, like, "I'm not doing this right," or "This is boring," see that judgment itself as just one more reflection in the mirror. You don't need to judge your judging. The mirror simply reflects it and lets it go. This is a practice of profound allowing. You are resting as the mirror itself. You are resting as the silent, spacious witness to your own experience. In this state of clear seeing, there is no struggle. There is no resistance. There is only a deep, abiding peace. This is the equanimity that is the ground of all wisdom, the perfect foundation for deep and dreamless sleep. Rest as the mirror, untroubled, unstained, and perfectly clear. Gently, softly, pause. Feel the deep quiet at your center. Let your body sink a little deeper into rest. There is nothing to do. Simply allow. This mirror-like awareness, in its pristine clarity, reveals another profound truth about the nature of reality. It shows us that everything we perceive, every form that arises, is like a temporary pattern in a vast, open space. The forms are real, yet they are not solid or permanent. The space is empty, yet it is not nothingness. It is the source of all forms. In Buddhism, this is known as the dance of emptiness and form. Understanding this dance dissolves our deepest anxieties about holding on and letting go, and allows us to find a quiet joy in the beautiful, flowing nature of life. Consider a master potter sitting at her wheel. Before her is a simple lump of wet clay. It is formless, full of potential, but in itself, it is nothing specific. This is emptiness. With skillful hands and a focused heart, she begins to shape the clay. It rises, expands, and takes on a shape. It becomes a beautiful vase. This is form. The students in her workshop admire the elegant curve of the vase, the smooth texture of its surface, the way it catches the light. They admire its form, but the master potter smiles and taps the side of the vase. You admire its form, she says, but its true purpose, its usefulness, comes from the emptiness inside. Without the empty space within, it could not hold water or flowers. The form and the emptiness work together. They are not two separate things. She then holds up the finished vase. This form is beautiful, but it is not permanent. It is a temporary arrangement of clay. For now, it will hold flowers, but one day it may fall and break. Its pieces will be swept up and, over time, will return to the earth, becoming simple clay again. They will return to the formless, to emptiness. And from that same clay, a new potter may one day create a new form, perhaps a bowl or a tile. Is the breaking of the vase a tragedy? She asks the students. Or is it simply a part of the endless, beautiful dance of life, the dance of transformation from emptiness to form, and from form back to emptiness? The joy, she explains, is not just in having the finished vase. The true joy is in appreciating the entire dance. We are like that clay vase. We have a specific form, our body, our name, our personality, our life story. This form is precious and beautiful, and we should care for it. But we suffer when we forget that it is a temporary form. We become terrified of it changing, of it aging, of it eventually breaking. We cling to our form so tightly that we cannot enjoy the dance. The wisdom of emptiness teaches us that our form arises from a vast, formless ground of being, a field of pure potential. And like the vase, the most essential part of us, our consciousness, our capacity to love and be aware, is like the emptiness inside. It is this formless, spacious nature that gives our life its meaning and depth. When you truly understand this, your relationship with life changes. You can fully inhabit and appreciate your current form, your life as it is right now, without the white-knuckled fear of it changing. You can find joy in the successes and the stability, But you can also find a deep peace in times of change and dissolution, knowing that it is all part of the natural creative dance. You are not a solid object in a world of other solid objects. You are a temporary, beautiful pattern in the flowing river of existence. Your form is precious, but your true nature is as open and boundless as the empty sky. As you lie here, resting on the edge of sleep, you can feel this dance of form and emptiness within your own being. First, bring your awareness to your form. Feel the clear boundaries of your body. Feel the weight, the density, the solidness of it. Feel the unique and specific collection of sensations that make up your physical presence in this moment. Appreciate this form. This body is a magnificent vessel that has carried you through your entire life. It is a temporary gift. Rest in the appreciation of your own beautiful, tangible form. Now, gently shift your awareness to the experience of emptiness. Feel the space inside your lungs after you exhale, that quiet pause before the next breath begins. Listen for the silence that exists between sounds, the canvas upon which all sound is painted. Notice the stillness that is present between your thoughts, the gap in the clouds that reveals the clear sky. Feel the spaciousness of the room around you, the vast, empty space that holds you and everything in it. This emptiness is not a lack. It is a presence. It is the peace of pure potential. It is the freedom from which all forms arise. Now, try to hold both in your awareness at once. Feel your solid form held within this vast, open emptiness. Feel the dance of your breath, the constant rhythm of filling and emptying. You are both the vase and the emptiness within. You are both the wave and the ocean. You are a precious, unique form, and you are also the boundless, formless awareness in which that form appears. There is no conflict between these two truths. They are partners in a beautiful dance. By relaxing into this dance, you release the fundamental tension of existence. You are no longer clinging to form, nor are you afraid of emptiness. You are simply resting in the whole, holy, and complete reality of what you are. Let this peaceful dance carry you into the depths of restful sleep. As we journey into this deep acceptance of our true nature, a subtle and beautiful shift can occur. Our focus naturally begins to expand beyond our own peace and our own rest. A gentle compassion arises, a heartfelt wish that all beings might find this same freedom. This is the path of the Bodhisattva, an awakened heart that, out of profound love, dedicates its own journey to the welfare of all. While this may sound like a grand and lofty ideal, its essence is simple. It is the quiet turning of the heart from "may I be free from suffering" to "may the peace I find here contribute to the freedom of all." There is a timeless story that tells of Kuan Yin, the embodiment of compassion. After ages of dedicated practice, she finally reached the shores of enlightenment. The gates to perfect, unending peace, nirvana, stood open before her. She was ready to enter, to leave the world of struggle and suffering behind forever. But as she took her final step, she paused. From the world she was leaving, she heard a sound. It was the collective cry of all beings, still caught in confusion, fear, and pain. It was the cry of a mother grieving a child, a man lost in anger, a lonely soul feeling forgotten. Her heart, now perfectly open and sensitive, was so moved by this sound that she could not bear to enter nirvana alone. She made a profound vow. "I will not enter this final peace," she declared, "until every last being has been freed from suffering." In that moment, it is said, her body transformed, growing 1,000 arms and 1,000 hands, each with an eye in its palm, so she could better see the suffering of the world and reach out to help in countless ways. This vow of Kuan Yin is not a story about a distant goddess. It is a story about the true nature of your own heart. Within every one of us lies this same capacity for boundless compassion. It is the natural response of an awakened mind. When we have touched our own deepest suffering and found the path to its release, a spontaneous wish arises that all others might find that same freedom. This is not a duty or a burden. It is the joyful overflow of a heart that has realized its fundamental unity with all of life. The greatest peace is not a solitary peace, sealed off from the world. The most profound and unshakable peace is a compassionate peace, one that holds the entire world in its loving embrace. This compassionate motivation is a powerful force for our own healing. When our practice is dedicated only to our own comfort, it can sometimes become narrow and self-centered. We can become frustrated when we don't feel peaceful, or attached to pleasant states when they arise. But when we gently shift our intention, when we dedicate our practice to the well-being of all, something magical happens. Our personal struggles are placed in a much larger context. Our efforts feel more meaningful. We find a new source of strength and patience, one that is not dependent on our own fluctuating moods. We are no longer just trying to fix our small, separate self. We are participating in the healing of the world. As you lie on the threshold of sleep, your mind is in a soft, receptive state. This is a perfect time to plant the seed of this compassionate intention. It is a way of dedicating the rest you are about to receive. Your rest becomes not just an escape from the day, but a quiet offering to the world. A well-rested, peaceful person naturally brings more kindness and wisdom into their interactions the next day. In this way, your own healing is a direct gift to everyone you will meet. By finding peace yourself, you become a source of peace for others. This is not a task you must accomplish, but a gentle orientation of the heart. You can do this with a simple, silent dedication. As your consciousness begins to soften and drift, you can hold a gentle intention in your mind. It might be something like this: "May the deep rest that I receive tonight restore my body and quiet my mind. May the peace that I find here in the stillness not be for me alone. May it ripple outwards from me, touching my loved ones, my community, and all beings who are struggling. May my own journey toward peace contribute in some small way to the peace of the world." Feel the resonance of this intention. It is not an act of ego, but an act of profound surrender and love. It aligns your personal healing with the healing of the whole. It transforms your bed into a sacred space, a place where you are not just resting your body, but are also cultivating a heart of limitless compassion. Let this be the final, gentle thought that guides you into the deep. You are resting not just for yourself, but for the benefit of all life. In this vast and loving intention, find the deepest peace of all. By finding peace yourself, you become a source of peace for others. This is not an abstract idea. It is a simple, observable truth. Think of how it feels to be in the presence of someone who is genuinely calm and at ease. Their very being has a soothing effect. They do not need to say or do anything special. Their peace is a quiet gift that they offer to the space around them. Conversely, being around someone who is agitated and anxious can be draining, as we unconsciously pick up on their inner turmoil. In this way, the most profound, compassionate action we can take is to tend to the garden of our own mind. A peaceful mind is the greatest service we can offer to the world, for it is from this ground that all wise and kind actions naturally grow. This understanding removes the heavy burden of feeling like you must save the world. It reframes compassionate action not as a grand, heroic effort, but as the simple, moment-to-moment practice of cultivating your own inner stillness. When you respond to a difficult situation with patience instead of anger, you are not just helping yourself, you are offering a small pocket of peace to a tense world. When you listen to another person with your full, non-judgmental attention, you are giving them the profound gift of being truly seen. These are the 1,000 arms of compassion at work in ordinary life. It is not about becoming a mythical figure. It is about allowing the natural warmth of your own awakened heart to express itself in small, simple, and consistent ways. As you lie here on the gentle edge of sleep, you can align yourself with this profound and joyful motivation. This is not a task to be performed, but a soft orientation of the heart, a quiet dedication of the rest you are about to receive. It is a way of making your sleep itself an act of compassion. Bring your awareness gently back to your heart space. Feel the gentle rhythm of your own life force. And as you prepare to let go into the deep, hold a soft intention in your mind. You might silently whisper to yourself, "May this deep rest I am about to receive restore my body, quiet my mind, and heal my heart. And may the peace I find here not be for me alone. May this peace ripple outwards, bringing a small measure of calm to my family, my friends, my community, and to this sleeping world. May my own healing contribute, in its own quiet way, to the healing of all." There is no need to force this feeling. Simply stating the intention is enough. It is like setting the rudder of a boat before you set sail. You are aligning your journey into the vast ocean of sleep with the pole star of compassion. This simple act of dedication can bring a profound sense of meaning and purpose to your rest. It paradoxically allows for a deeper personal peace by connecting your well-being to the well-being of the whole. You are not just a separate self seeking comfort. You are a part of the world, and your peace is a gift to it. Rest in this expansive, loving intention. Let it be the gentle current that carries you into a deep and healing sleep. Gently, softly, pause. Feel the deep quiet at your center. Let your body sink a little deeper into rest. There is nothing to do. Simply allow. As we continue this journey inward, let us bring this gentle, compassionate awareness into the very fabric of our physical being. For so long, the mind has been our primary focus, but the body is not separate from this journey. It is not a vessel to be ignored or an inconvenience to be overcome. Your body is a profound source of wisdom, a sensitive instrument that is constantly communicating the truth of the present moment. The path to deep rest involves learning to listen to the body with the same kindness and attention. We are learning to give our thoughts. It is about finding the middle way within our own physical sensations. There is a story told in a village famous for its weaving about a young apprentice who was struggling to learn the craft from her grandmother, a master weaver. The girl was diligent, but her cloth was always flawed. Sometimes it was loose and uneven, and sometimes it was so tight that the threads would break under the strain. One evening, frustrated to the point of tears, she went to her grandmother. "I don't understand," she said. "I follow all the steps, but my work is never right. It is either too weak or it breaks." The grandmother stopped her own loom and beckoned the girl closer. She pointed to the warp threads stretched across the frame. "The secret of the cloth is not in your hands," she said softly. "It is in the tension. Listen." She plucked one of the threads. It made a dull, low sound. "This one is too loose. It has no life. The cloth it makes will have no strength." Then she plucked another thread, and it made a high, sharp, strained sound. "This one is too tight. It has no resilience. It will break under pressure." Finally, she plucked a thread in the center. It sang with a clear, resonant tone, vibrating with life, but not with strain. "This," the grandmother whispered, "is the middle way. This thread is alive and alert, yet it is also relaxed and at ease. It has found the perfect balance. You cannot force this balance with your mind. You must learn to feel it with your fingers. You must stop trying to control the threads and start listening to them. Their wisdom will guide your hands." Our body is this loom, and our nervous system is woven with these threads. So often, we live at the extremes of tension. We go through our days with threads pulled tight, wound up with stress, anxiety, and the relentless pressure to do more. Our muscles are braced, our breath is shallow, our bodies are in a constant state of low-grade alarm. When we finally lie down to rest, we are so tightly wound that we cannot let go. The threads are ready to snap. The other extreme is also common. We collapse into a state of lethargy and dullness, where the threads are too loose. We feel heavy, disconnected, and numb. Neither of these states is true rest. They are simply two different kinds of imbalance. The middle way of the body, the state in which true restoration occurs, is like that perfectly tuned thread. It is a state of relaxed alertness. It is a body that is deeply at ease, yet also vibrant and alive. This profound balance cannot be achieved by thinking about it. It cannot be forced by an act of will. It can only be found by doing what the grandmother advised, by listening. Your body is constantly sending you subtle signals, a language of sensation that is far older and often wiser than the language of your thoughts. The practice is to turn down the volume of the thinking mind and turn up the volume of your capacity to feel. It is to bring a kind, curious, and non-judgmental awareness to your physical experience, just as it is. This is a practice of deep kindness. As you lie here, begin the simple act of listening to your body. Let go of any ideas you have about it, any judgments about its shape, its age, or its health. Let go of the desire for it to feel different than it does. Simply allow your awareness to become a gentle, receptive presence. Let your attention drift down, all the way down to your feet. Do not try to change anything you find. Just listen. What are the sensations here? Can you feel warmth or coolness? Can you feel a tingling, a pulsing, or a sense of numbness? Can you feel the contact with the fabric of the blankets? There are no right or wrong answers. The goal is simply to receive the information with gentle curiosity. You are listening to the wisdom of your feet. Slowly, let your awareness travel upwards into your ankles, your calves, and your shins. What sensations are present here? Is there a feeling of tension in the muscles from the day's walking? Is there a sense of deep stillness? Whatever is here, simply meet it with your kind attention. You are not trying to fix or relax anything. The simple act of listening, of bringing your gentle awareness to a part of your body, is itself a profound act of healing. The threads begin to find their own natural balance when they feel heard. Continue this journey of listening, moving your awareness up into your knees and your thighs. This is a large, powerful part of your body that carries you through your life. What is its song tonight? Is it one of tiredness, of strength, of restlessness? Be a compassionate witness to whatever sensations are present. Let your awareness be like a warm, soothing balm, bringing a sense of acceptance to this part of your body. Now, bring your attention to your hips, your pelvis, and your lower back. This is an area where we often store a great deal of unconscious tension. Gently, without any force, let your awareness fill this entire region. Listen for tightness, for softness, for feelings of holding or release. Simply notice. With each exhale, you might imagine this area softening just a little, letting go of its grip. Travel now up your spine, vertebra by vertebra, into your stomach and your chest. Feel the gentle rhythmic movement of your breathing here. This is the song of life itself, rising and falling in your core. Rest your attention in this gentle rhythm. Feel how the in-breath brings energy and the out-breath brings release. This is the middle way in action, the perfect balance of receiving and letting go. Finally, bring your awareness to your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, and the tiny muscles around your eyes. These are the places that so often reflect the tightness of our mind. Let your listening be especially gentle here. Feel any hardness, any bracing, any clenching, and simply hold that sensation in a soft, kind awareness. You do not need to command these muscles to relax. Simply by bringing your peaceful attention to them, you invite them to let go. They feel safe enough to release their grip. By listening to your body in this way, you are stepping out of the noisy marketplace of the mind and into the quiet temple of your own physical being. You are learning the language of sensation, the wisdom of the threads. And in this gentle, sustained listening, the entire loom of your body naturally begins to find its perfect tension, that resonant tone of being that is both deeply relaxed and fully alive. This is the physical foundation of profound restorative sleep. As this gentle, listening awareness permeates your entire body, a deep quietude begins to settle. The threads of your being, once too tight with striving or too loose with exhaustion, find their natural, harmonious tone. This is the peace of the middle way, a peace that is not forced, but discovered. It is the peace that arises when we finally stop struggling and simply allow ourselves to be. And so our long and gentle journey together, through the winding paths of Zen wisdom, has brought us here, to this place of quiet arrival. Think of the path we have traveled tonight. We began by learning the simple, profound art of setting down the heavy burdens of the day, just as the monk set down the woman at the river. We discovered how to be the calm boatman in the storm of our own minds, anchored in the steady presence of our breath. We have felt the deep comfort of our interconnection, realizing we are not an isolated leaf, but the entire living tree, held and supported by all of life. We have learned to be like the old woman on the raft, finding freedom by flowing with the great, ever-changing river of existence, rather than building walls against it. We have seen the wisdom of emptying our cup, of letting go of the need to know and control. And in that spaciousness, we have found our true home in the simple gift of the present moment. We have tended to the garden of our mind, and we have taken off the heavy costume of the self, allowing ourselves to rest in the freedom of being no one in particular. Each step, each story, each quiet breath has been a step closer to the peace that was here all along, waiting patiently beneath the noise. Now, in these final moments before sleep, there is nothing left to learn or analyze. All that remains is to rest in the beautiful tapestry of wisdom you have woven within yourself. Let this be a final, gentle practice of integration. Feel all these threads coming together in a seamless whole that is your own peaceful being. Feel the unwavering support of the surface beneath you, and through it, the solid, steadfast presence of the earth. This is your connection. You are held. You belong. Feel the gentle, rhythmic flow of your breath, rising and falling without any effort. This is the river of life, the truth of impermanence. You are safe in its flow. Feel the spacious quiet that now fills your mind. It is not an empty void, but a vast, clear mirror, capable of holding all of life's reflections with perfect, untroubled peace. This is your wisdom. And feel the soft, gentle warmth in the very center of your chest. This is the presence of your own compassionate heart, a love that connects you to all beings. This is your true nature. There is no separation between these things. The support, the flow, the wisdom, and the love are all one reality, and that reality is you. There is no longer any need to strive, to seek, or to hold on. All you need to do is surrender. Surrender to the peace you have uncovered. Surrender to the stillness that is your essence. Surrender to the deep, healing rest that your body and soul have been longing for. Let go now, completely. Let us conclude our journey with some timeless Zen stories. Now, let us explore a Zen story about the futility of trying to escape aspects of ourselves. This is the man who ran from his shadow. There once lived a man who had developed an intense fear of his own shadow and a deep hatred for his footprints. Every morning when he woke and saw his shadow following him wherever he went, he felt a wave of revulsion and anxiety. The dark silhouette seemed to mock him, mimicking his every movement and gesture. When he walked across sandy ground or dusty paths, he would look back and see the trail of footprints he had left behind. And these too filled him with disgust and shame. "These things torment me," he thought to himself one day, as he watched his shadow dance on the wall. "My shadow follows me everywhere, reminding me of my presence in this world, and my footprints leave evidence of everywhere I've been. I must find a way to escape from them completely." So he devised what seemed like a logical plan. He would run away from his shadow and outpace his footprints. If he could just move fast enough, surely he could leave these troublesome companions behind. Early one morning, he began to run, determined to free himself from their persistent presence. But as he ran, something frustrating happened. Every time he put his foot down, another footprint appeared in the dirt behind him. His shadow had no trouble at all keeping up with him, moving effortlessly alongside him no matter how fast he moved. The faster he ran, the more footprints he created, and his shadow seemed to grow more animated with each stride. "I'm not running fast enough," he concluded, breathing hard but unwilling to give up. "If I can just increase my speed, I'll surely outdistance them." So he ran faster and faster, his heart pounding and his breath coming in gasps. Sweat poured down his face as he pushed his body to its limits, but still his shadow kept perfect pace with him, and still each step created another footprint in his wake. His frustration grew into desperation as he realized his plan wasn't working. Hour after hour, he continued this frantic chase, running faster and faster, never stopping for a moment's rest. His body began to ache, his lungs burned, and his legs trembled with exhaustion. But he was so fixated on escaping his shadow and footprints that he couldn't see the simple futility of his efforts. Finally, after running for what felt like an eternity, he collapsed from complete exhaustion and died there on the path, his shadow still beside him and his footprints trailing behind him all the way back to where his desperate journey had begun. What the man never understood was that the solution to his problem was remarkably simple. If he had merely stepped into the shade of a tree, his shadow would have vanished completely, and if he had simply sat down and remained still, there would have been no more footprints. As the Buddha observed, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." This ancient wisdom reveals a profound truth about our relationship to the aspects of ourselves we try to escape or eliminate. The deeper teaching here shows us how much energy we waste trying to run away from fundamental aspects of our existence, rather than learning to work skillfully with them. The shadow in this story represents all the parts of ourselves we find unacceptable: our anger, our sadness, our fears, our perceived flaws, or our past mistakes. The footprints represent the evidence of our impact on the world, the traces we leave behind that we sometimes wish we could erase. This pattern of running from ourselves manifests in countless ways throughout our lives. We might try to escape our tendency toward anxiety by staying constantly busy, only to create more stress and more anxiety. We might attempt to outrun our loneliness by filling every moment with social activity, never giving ourselves the stillness necessary to address the root of our isolation. Why do we believe we can solve internal problems through external action? The mind convinces us that if we can just change our circumstances, alter our environment, or modify our behavior sufficiently, we can escape the uncomfortable aspects of our psyche. But as the running man discovered, this approach often intensifies the very problems we're trying to solve. Think about the shadows you might be running from in your own life. Perhaps you're trying to escape feelings of inadequacy by working excessive hours, creating more exhaustion and less time for the self-care that might actually address your insecurity. Maybe you're attempting to avoid grief after a loss by staying constantly entertained, preventing yourself from processing the emotions that need to be felt for healing to occur. The footprints we try to escape might be past mistakes, relationships that ended badly, or choices we regret. We exhaust ourselves trying to outrun the consequences of our history rather than learning to make peace with our imperfect human journey. Zen Buddhism points toward a radically different approach. Instead of running from our shadows, we can learn to step into the shade. Instead of trying to eliminate our footprints, we can learn to walk more mindfully. The very things we're trying to escape often contain the seeds of our liberation when we stop fleeing and start facing them with compassion. Zen master Suzuki Roshi taught, "Each of you is perfect the way you are, and you can use a little improvement." This paradox captures the essence of working skillfully with our shadows. We can accept ourselves completely while still engaging in growth and healing, but from a place of self-compassion rather than self-rejection. The shade of the tree in the story represents the sanctuary we find when we stop running and start practicing self-acceptance. When we turn toward our difficult emotions with kindness rather than resistance, they often dissolve naturally, like shadows disappearing in the shade. When we cease the frantic activity designed to prove our worth or escape our discomfort, we create space for genuine rest and insight. The Buddha said, "The way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart." The path to freedom from our shadows leads through them, not around them. By bringing compassionate attention to the parts of ourselves we've been running from, we transform our relationship to them completely. Consider what might change if you stopped running from your particular shadows tomorrow. What if you approached your anxiety with curiosity rather than resistance? What if you met your sadness with compassion rather than distraction? What if you examined your mistakes with learning rather than shame? Tonight, as you prepare for rest, notice if there are any aspects of yourself you've been trying to outrun. Can you imagine stepping into the shade of self-acceptance, even briefly? What would it feel like to sit still long enough that no new footprints of regret or shame get created? As the Buddha taught, the trouble is you think you have time, but actually, the time to stop running and find peace with yourself is always right now. Our next story reveals the gap between intellectual understanding and embodied realization. This is nothing exists. Yamaoka Teshu was a young and intellectually gifted student of Zen who had spent considerable time studying Buddhist philosophy and developing what he believed was a sophisticated understanding of the deepest teachings. He was particularly drawn to the profound concepts of emptiness and non-duality that form the foundation of advanced Buddhist thought, and he felt confident that his grasp of these ideas demonstrated significant spiritual achievement. Having heard of the renowned Master Dokuon's reputation for wisdom and insight, Yamaoka decided to visit him to demonstrate his understanding and perhaps receive acknowledgement of his philosophical sophistication. He approached this meeting with the confidence of someone who had mastered complex intellectual material and expected to engage in elevated spiritual discourse. When Yamaoka was granted an audience with Master Dokuon, He found the master sitting quietly in his simple room, smoking his bamboo pipe with calm composure. The atmosphere was peaceful and unpretentious, but Yamaoka was eager to share his insights and engage in profound philosophical discussion. "Master," Yamaoka began with the authority of someone well-versed in Buddhist doctrine, "I have come to share with you my understanding of the fundamental nature of reality as taught by the Buddha." He proceeded to articulate what he considered a masterful summary of advanced Buddhist philosophy. The mind, Buddha, and sentient beings, after all, do not exist in any ultimate sense. Everything we perceive and experience is, when examined closely, empty of inherent existence. The true nature of all phenomena is emptiness itself. There is no solid, independent reality to be found anywhere. Yamaoka continued with growing confidence in his exposition. There is no realization to be achieved because there is no one to achieve it, and nothing to be realized. There is no delusion to be overcome because delusion itself is empty. There is no sage and no ordinary person because these distinctions are merely conceptual fabrications with no ultimate reality. Furthermore, he concluded with evident satisfaction in his philosophical precision, there is no one who gives teachings and nothing to be received, no teacher and no student, because all such dualities are illusions created by conceptual thinking that fails to recognize the fundamental emptiness of existence. Throughout this lengthy philosophical presentation, Master Dokuon continued smoking his pipe in silence, showing no particular reaction to Yamaoka's elaborate exposition of Buddhist metaphysics. His face remained calm and neutral, neither impressed nor dismissive of the young man's intellectual display. When Yamaoka finished his discourse and waited expectantly for some acknowledgement of his understanding, Master Dokuon made no verbal response. Instead, he continued smoking quietly for several more moments, as if considering what he had heard. Then, without any warning or explanation, Master Dokuon picked up his bamboo pipe and struck Yamaoka hard on the head with it. The blow was unexpected and quite painful. Yamaoka immediately jumped up from his seated position, his face flushed with anger and indignation. His philosophical composure vanished instantly, replaced by very human emotions of pain, surprise, and rage. "Why did you hit me?" he demanded, his voice filled with outrage. "What kind of teaching method is this? How dare you strike a visitor who came here respectfully to discuss the Dharma?" Master Dokuon looked at the angry young man with a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "If nothing exists," he said calmly, "where did this anger come from?" Yamaoka stood there speechless, his entire philosophical framework suddenly revealed as inadequate to address his immediate experience. All his sophisticated understanding of emptiness and non-existence had dissolved the moment he encountered actual pain and genuine emotional reaction. His intellectual grasp of Buddhist concepts proved completely useless when faced with the direct reality of his own mind's responses. The Buddha taught, "Do not believe in anything simply because you have heard it. Do not believe in anything simply because it is spoken and rumored by many. But after observation and analysis, when you find that anything agrees with reason and is conducive to the good and benefit of one and all, then accept it and live up to it." This ancient wisdom illuminates the crucial difference between intellectual acceptance of spiritual teachings and authentic realization that transforms how we actually live. What emerges from this story is a teaching about the vast gap that can exist between conceptual understanding and embodied wisdom. Yamaoka could articulate sophisticated Buddhist philosophy with impressive precision, but his understanding remained purely intellectual rather than experiential. When challenged by immediate reality, his concepts offered no real guidance or stability. This tale unveils a pattern that appears frequently in spiritual development: the accumulation of spiritual knowledge that remains separate from actual transformation. We can study teachings about non-attachment while remaining deeply attached to our spiritual identity. We can understand theories about the illusory nature of the ego while defending our self-image with great intensity. We can master the vocabulary of enlightenment while remaining caught in the same emotional patterns we've always experienced. Master Dokuan's teaching method was both skillful and direct. Rather than engaging in abstract philosophical debate, he created an immediate situation that would reveal the difference between Yamaoka's concepts and his actual level of realization. The pipe striking his head wasn't an act of aggression, but a compassionate teaching device designed to show the young man where his understanding remained merely theoretical. Why do we sometimes mistake intellectual comprehension for genuine spiritual attainment? The thinking mind is seductive in its ability to create elaborate frameworks that give us a sense of understanding and progress. When we can explain complex spiritual concepts fluently, we naturally feel that we've achieved something significant. But as Yamaoka discovered, conceptual knowledge often proves inadequate when we encounter actual challenges to our equanimity. The anger that arose when Yamaoka was struck revealed the gap between his philosophical stance and his emotional reality. If he had truly realized the emptiness of existence he described so eloquently, physical pain and unexpected treatment wouldn't have triggered such an immediate and intense reaction. His anger demonstrated that despite his sophisticated rhetoric, his sense of self remained very much intact and reactive. Consider how this teaching might apply to your own spiritual or personal development. Are there areas where your intellectual understanding exceeds your actual capacity to embody what you know? Perhaps you understand the principles of mindfulness while still becoming lost in anxious thoughts during stressful situations. Maybe you believe in the importance of compassion while finding yourself harshly critical of people whose behavior annoys you. This pattern appears beyond formal spiritual contexts in any domain where knowledge and practice diverge. We might understand the psychology of healthy relationships while still falling into dysfunctional communication patterns during conflict. We could know a great deal about nutrition and exercise while maintaining habits that don't support our well-being. The pipe in this story represents any experience that tests whether our understanding has moved beyond the conceptual level into genuine embodiment. These tests often arrive unexpectedly. A criticism that triggers defensiveness, a setback that reveals hidden attachments, or a conflict that exposes the gap between our spiritual ideals and our actual responses. Zen Buddhism emphasizes direct experience over intellectual knowledge precisely because concepts alone cannot transform consciousness. We can study meditation techniques extensively, but sitting quietly with a restless mind for 20 minutes often teaches us more about the nature of awareness than reading countless books about mindfulness theory. Master Dokuan's question, "Where did this anger come from?" pointed directly to the contradiction between Yamaoka's philosophical position and his immediate experience. If nothing truly exists, including the self that could be offended, then anger should have no basis for arising. The fact that anger did arise so quickly and intensely revealed that Yamaoka's realization of emptiness remained conceptual rather than experiential. The Buddha said, "However many holy words you read, however many you speak, what good will they do you if you do not act upon them?" Yamaoka had absorbed many holy words about emptiness and non-existence, but his reaction to the pipe demonstrated that these words hadn't yet transformed his actual relationship to experience. What's remarkable about this teaching encounter is how quickly it revealed the truth of Yamaoka's situation. Rather than allowing him to continue building elaborate intellectual frameworks that might take years to deconstruct, Master Dokuwan's direct intervention immediately exposed the gap between knowledge and realization. Tonight, as you reflect on your own spiritual and personal development, can you identify areas where your intellectual understanding might exceed your actual capacity to embody what you know? When tomorrow brings unexpected challenges, the metaphorical pipes that test our equanimity, will you respond from genuine realization or react from conditioned patterns? As the Buddha taught, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. Perhaps the deepest thinking is learning to think less and embody more, discovering that true wisdom reveals itself not in what we can explain about emptiness, but in how empty we can remain when pipes strike our heads. As we continue on our journey, we encounter a teaching about the playful nature of wisdom and how authentic spiritual confidence reveals itself through humor rather than solemnity. This is one ghost scaring another. On a moonlit evening when shadows dance between the pine trees near Master Sengai's temple, a mischievous samurai was making his way home through the grove. As he walked along the familiar path, he noticed a figure seated in perfect stillness on a large rock beneath one of the ancient pines. Even in the dim light, the silhouette was unmistakable. Master Sengai sat in deep meditation, his posture so motionless and composed that he looked exactly like the legendary Bodhidharma, the founder of Zen Buddhism. The samurai paused, studying the scene with growing curiosity. The next evening, passing through the same grove at twilight, he discovered the master in the identical position, seated on the same rock in profound contemplation. This routine continued for several nights, and the samurai's interest transformed into a mischievous challenge. People say that despite being such a small man, Master Sengai has tremendous courage. The samurai mused to himself with a grin. Well, this looks like the perfect opportunity to test that reputation. The following day, the samurai arrived at the grove early and concealed himself in the branches of a pine tree directly above the rock where Sengai conducted his evening meditation. As darkness fell and the master settled into his usual seated position, the hidden samurai waited for the perfect moment to spring his surprise. Once Sengai appeared deeply absorbed in meditation, the samurai reached down from his perch and grabbed the master's head with both hands. He expected immediate alarm, perhaps a startled cry or frantic struggle. Instead, Master Sengai continued meditating with the same unperturbed stillness, as motionless as a stone Buddha, showing no reaction whatsoever to this unexpected intrusion. Surprised by this lack of response, the samurai tried escalating his prank. "I'm going to get you," he bellowed in his most threatening voice, expecting this dramatic announcement to shatter the master's composure. But this tactic proved equally ineffective. Sengai remained in perfect equanimity, neither flinching nor acknowledging the disturbance, maintaining his meditative posture with unchanged tranquility. Finally feeling ashamed of his childish behavior, and impressed by the master's unshakable peace, the samurai quietly climbed down from the tree and slipped away into the night, his prank having backfired completely. The following morning, curious about the master's experience and perhaps wanting to confess his misbehavior, the samurai went to visit Sengai at the temple. The instant he stepped through the entrance, before he could speak a single word, the master shouted from behind a half-open paper screen, "Aha! The ghost!" The samurai jumped backward in shock, instinctively reaching for his sword. "What?" he exclaimed, his warrior reflexes activated by the unexpected confrontation. Master Sengai nearly collapsed with laughter at the samurai's startled reaction. "It's bad business," the master remarked through his mirth, "when one ghost is scaring another." The Buddha once said, "A disciplined mind brings happiness." The deeper teaching here shows us how true equanimity expresses itself, not through rigid seriousness, but through the kind of inner freedom that allows for spontaneous humor and playful wisdom. This ancient wisdom illuminates the difference between authentic spiritual confidence and the heavy, solemn persona many people adopt when they think they're being spiritual. Master Sengai's complete calmness during the samurai's prank wasn't the result of suppressing his natural responses. It emerged from such deep inner stillness that external disturbances simply couldn't penetrate his awareness. But notice what happened the next day. The master didn't maintain a consistently serious demeanor or pretend the incident never occurred. Instead, he responded with perfect timing and delightful humor, turning the tables on his would-be prankster in a way that revealed the playful nature of true wisdom. Why do we so often assume that spiritual development requires us to become humorless or overly serious? This misconception stems from confusing genuine equanimity with emotional suppression. Real inner peace doesn't eliminate our capacity for joy, surprise, or playfulness. It provides a stable foundation from which these qualities can express themselves more authentically. The samurai's attempt to frighten the master backfired because it was based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what creates fear. He assumed that surprise attacks and threatening declarations would disturb someone's peace. But Master Sengai's tranquility wasn't dependent on external circumstances remaining predictable or comfortable. This teaching reveals something important about the nature of spiritual tests and challenges. We often imagine that our practice should make us invulnerable to surprise or difficulty, but true practice makes us responsive rather than reactive. The master wasn't unmoved by the samurai's prank. He was unmoved by the fear and reactivity that the samurai expected it to provoke. We can observe similar dynamics in our own responses to unexpected challenges. When someone tries to provoke us, do we react with the emotional charge they're seeking? Or can we maintain our inner equilibrium while choosing how to respond? The difference between these approaches determines whether we remain centered in our own wisdom or get pulled into someone else's drama. Zen practice cultivates what might be called responsive freedom, the ability to remain centered while still engaging fully with whatever life presents. This isn't emotional numbness or detachment, but rather a quality of awareness that can appreciate humor, surprise, and even mischief without being destabilized by them. Additionally, our minds tend to create false dichotomies between being serious about spiritual practice and maintaining a sense of playfulness about life. Master Sengai's story demonstrates that the deepest wisdom often expresses itself through lightness rather than gravity, through humor rather than solemnity. The master's final comment, "It's bad business when one ghost is scaring another," reveals another layer of teaching. He recognized that both he and the samurai were playing roles, adopting personas that weren't their essential nature. The samurai was playing the ghost of a threatening prankster, while he had momentarily become the ghost of a startled victim. True wisdom sees through these costume dramas to the shared humanity beneath. This story also points us toward understanding the power of timing in all our interactions. The master's perfectly timed "aha," the ghost, wasn't planned or calculated. It emerged spontaneously from his integrated awareness of the entire situation. When we're truly present, we often find that the most appropriate responses arise naturally without forcing or strategizing. Tonight, as you consider your own relationship with surprise, challenge, and playfulness, can you notice areas where you might be taking yourself too seriously? What would it mean to maintain your inner equanimity while still allowing space for humor and spontaneous joy? As the Buddha taught, thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. In cultivating both deep peace and playful wisdom, we discover that spiritual development enhances rather than diminishes our capacity for genuine human connection and joy. Let us now turn to a tale about the wisdom that can be found in unexpected moments of supposed transgression. This is The Fishbones. In the serene grounds of a mountain monastery, where the morning mist clung to ancient pine trees and the sound of temple bells marked the rhythm of contemplative life, a day laborer was going about his routine maintenance work. As he swept beneath the raised wooden floors of the main meditation hall, something unusual caught his eye. Fresh bones from what appeared to be a sea bream, still glistening with traces of the previous night's meal. The worker's heart raced with the significance of his discovery. Fish was strictly forbidden in the monastery. The monastic code was clear about avoiding meat, and these bones represented a serious violation of the community's most fundamental dietary principles. This was scandal, worthy of immediate attention from the highest authority. Clutching the evidence in his weathered hands, the laborer hurried across the temple grounds to find the master. "Master, master," he called out, his voice carrying both excitement and moral indignation. "Look what I found under the monk's hall. Fresh fish bones. How embarrassing to have such evidence of rule-breaking turn up here at the temple. What will people think of our community's discipline?" The master, who had been quietly tending to his morning tea, looked up with eyes that held no surprise, no shock, no disappointment. Instead, a gentle smile played across his weathered features as he examined the bones the laborer presented with such righteous concern. "Well, well," the master said, chuckling softly as he turned the bones over in his palm. "The novices nowadays have certainly gotten soft. Back when I was a novice, we never left over even the bones." The worker stood frozen, his mouth agape, unsure whether he had heard correctly. Had the master just confessed to not only knowing about the fish consumption, but to having once consumed fish so thoroughly that no evidence remained? The moral certainty that had driven him to report this violation crumbled in an instant. Buddha's wisdom tells us, the fault of others is easily perceived, but that of oneself is difficult to perceive. This teaching relates profoundly to our human tendency to focus on the perceived failures of others while remaining blind to our own imperfections and the complexity of any situation. This ancient wisdom illuminates how quickly we become intoxicated by moral superiority. The laborer's excitement at discovering evidence of wrongdoing reveals a troubling aspect of human nature, our eagerness to find fault in others, especially when we perceive them as having higher standards or more spiritual authority than ourselves. Why do we derive such satisfaction from discovering the imperfections of those we consider our moral or spiritual superiors? This impulse often stems from what Zen calls comparative mind, the ego's strategy for establishing its worth by diminishing others. When we find evidence of their humanity, their mistakes, their moments of weakness, we feel temporarily elevated, as if their fallibility somehow increases our own virtue. The worker rushed to judgment based on appearances, never considering the full context of what he had discovered. Perhaps the fish was donated food that would have been wasted. Perhaps it was medicine prescribed for an ailing monk. Perhaps it represented an act of compassion rather than self-indulgence. His assumption that he understood the complete moral picture from a single piece of evidence reveals the dangerous simplicity of self-righteous thinking. We can observe this same pattern in our daily interactions. How quickly we jump to conclusions about people's motivations based on limited information. A coworker leaves early and we assume laziness, never considering family obligations. A friend doesn't respond to messages and we assume indifference, never considering their personal struggles. A spiritual teacher makes a human mistake and we assume hypocrisy, never considering the full complexity of their situation. Zen master Huang Po taught, "The foolish reject what they see, not what they think. The wise reject what they think, not what they see." This wisdom points us toward examining our interpretations and judgments, rather than simply accepting them as accurate reflections of reality. The Master's response demonstrates a profound teaching about spiritual authority and humility. Rather than becoming defensive, denying the accusation, or punishing those involved, he used the moment to reveal something deeper about the nature of rules, practice, and human nature itself. His confession that he once consumed fish so completely that no bones remained is both humorous and illuminating. It acknowledges shared humanity while suggesting that true spiritual development might involve growing beyond the need for such rigid external controls. This story also points us toward understanding the difference between the spirit and letter of spiritual practice. Rules and guidelines exist to support our development, but when they become sources of judgment and comparison, they can actually hinder the very growth they were designed to encourage. Beyond this, there emerges another layer of teaching about the nature of evidence and assumption. The worker believed that fish bones proved moral failing, but what if they proved something else entirely? Perhaps the very compassion and non-attachment that the monastery sought to cultivate. Tonight, as you notice yourself quick to judge others based on limited evidence or external appearances, can you pause and consider what you might not be seeing? Can you remember moments when your own actions might have appeared questionable to others who didn't understand the full context? As the Buddha taught, hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This is a law eternal. When we meet others' apparent imperfections with judgment and moral superiority, we perpetuate the very divisiveness that spiritual practice seeks to heal. Through compassionate understanding, we discover that our shared humanity is more profound than our individual failures. From all of us at Sleepy Monk, we offer these teachings as a lantern on your path. The light you have found is the light of your own awareness. Trust it. It knows the way home. Rest now in that perfect knowing, that endless love, that peace which is beyond all understanding. Sleep well, dear friend.